My name's Steve Rinella from MeatEater, and these are the best and the worst elk hunting moments of my life. So this hunt is in Kentucky, and this is a reintroduced elk population. And this is the crazy thing to think about with this. Elk have only been recovered on less than 20% of their historic range. So if you had arrived here when Europeans first started showing up on the continent, there would be over 80% more elk habitat. If you lived in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, New York, Kentucky, Tennessee, like that was all elk country. And it's a very slow process to try to rebuild all these elk that have been extirpated. These elk here would have been wiped out by guys like Daniel Boone, who were hunting elk here back in the, around 1775. What they would use elk for, they like to use them for harness leather. They would make heavy leather things out of them. And they like to eat some of the liver and stuff. But Boone was a white-tailed deer hunter, and they wouldn't sell elk hides. They would just get elk and use the leather for putting stuff together or making leather thongs, leather belts, things that they might want for their own use so they could sell their deer hides. And the wildest thing about hunting here in Kentucky, again, we imagine elk being a thing of the Rocky Mountain West. To be in a deciduous hardwood forest, meaning you're in a forest full of oak, walnut, hickory, beech, right? Like not elk country, but then to hear elk bugles shooting out through those hardwoods is just surreal, man. I can't believe how that worked out. Oh, man. A trip like this really makes you want to be able to, hopefully, that we continue our efforts to put elk back on the landscape, as hard as that is to do, that we fill more of these places up that used to be elk country that we just don't think of as elk country anymore. Man, this is one of those hunts that haunts me. So this is the Gila National Forest in New Mexico, hunting elk. Hard to draw a tag, hard to draw a rifle tag. A lot of times I'll do little public appearance events, and you get to the Q&A part and people are always like, what was your favorite hunt? No one ever says, what's the dumbest thing you ever did? If someone ever asks me the question, what's the dumbest thing you ever did? I'm gonna talk about missing this elk in the Gila. This is quite a while ago, okay? A decade ago or whatever. And it was right when I was first starting to mess with adjustable turret caps, right? Where you're actually clicking for distance. In the old days, like when I was a kid, whatever, when you're shooting long ways, you just hold a little higher, right? And I kind of had that system down. But then all of a sudden we have this new stuff where we have laser range finders and it tells you the exact distance and then you're just clicking for it. And there was a learning curve to it. When I'm trying to think of ways in which I can blame missing this elk, I think in my head I can a little bit try to blame an adjustable turret cap mishap that happened there from not monitoring it and not letting it inadvertently spin. They're fighting. Took a shot over him. But I think I screwed that up. I misjudged it and shot right over his back. I just missed. And what better situation where you have there's these two bulls fighting, right? Had I done what I needed to do, had I hit that elk, I like to think that one of those elk would have gone down and that other elk would have kept fighting them We'd have all this amazing footage of like a bull beating up a dead bull and all that, but instead I just whiffed the shot. I think about it all the time. You know, that wasn't even a far shot, dude. I just missed. I missed. It's like just stupid. This here is a late season cow elk hunt in north central Montana where me and my buddy Callahan are taking a couple colleagues and friends of ours out to try to get them their first elk. There's a thing that happens with late season cow elk hunting where you wind up, it's kind of feast or famine, right? Like you might go to a spot and you don't find anything, but then all of a sudden you find a group of cows and you find all the cows and they are in a ball. And if you watch elk, there's kind of a peculiar thing that happens is, let's say you got a bunch of elk and they're spread out feeding and they start to get nervous. If you watch, there's a real herd mentality and there's like a defense strategy with those elk because they're all spread out feeding. And if they start getting nervous or something's not right, you see them kind of like suck in to these balls, like they gang up. And you don't really think about it when you're going hunting, you think of all the things that could go wrong, you know? You don't often think about, well, what might go wrong is we get an opportunity, but there's never a clean shot at a single animal. And it really is hard to talk someone through who's not an experienced hunter, how to handle a situation where you have like all the elk in a ball. I was hunting with my friend Brittany, and we got into a situation just like this where it never worked out. We're just elk, elk, elk. And you're sitting there looking down the hill, and I'm like, okay, 3 to the left. No, not that. Okay, 2 to the right. No, never mind that. Okay, you see that one kind of down below? No, too late, right? And opportunity.
I don't see him anymore.
And no one ever takes a shot. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, as an experienced marksman, I'm like, I would have shot that one, I would have shot that one, I would have shot that one, I would have shot that one. But it's hard to talk someone into doing it because they're so nervous about screwing up. And screwing up in a case like this is you're gonna hit more than one. You have a tag for 1 elk, but you shoot and hit 2 or hit 3 or kill 1 and wound 2. You know, it's terrible. You don't want that to happen. I have found in these situations, I'm always surprised that there's like a sort of female mentality and a male mentality where I'll find that if I'm hunting with women, including my little daughter, she is psychologically more prepared to have it be that they get nothing rather than risk getting 2. If I look at my older boy, the only thing he's thinking is how many shots can I get off how quickly? So it's just, but I've seen this like replicated again and again. Women are better able, in my findings, they're better able to be like, it's not right, I'm not gonna shoot. And I think guys have a greater tendency to be like, I better shoot or I'm gonna be less of a man, you know, if I don't get a shot off. But in this case, it does work out and through patience, right, Helen gets an elk.
There's still some feeding in the trees right there. That's doable. Let's get down to this next little group of trees. Go really slow. You see them? Okay, put a round in. Get a good rest. You can shoot that cow, the dark one across the creek.
Shoot, just out of sight.
It's okay. You can shoot the one on the right. Whenever you're ready, just take your time.
I'm gonna shoot her.
Yep.
I'm gonna shoot her.
Okay, hold them. It's okay, Helen. 60 of them down here to the left.
So I can see through the grass.
Okay, sit up. You see it on the right-hand side?
Yep.
The one behind it is a cow.
All right, I'm gonna shoot her.
Hold your crosshairs about 5 inches to the left. Put it right on the shoulder.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready. Nice and easy. You hit her.
Did I miss?
No, reload.
I don't see her. Where is she?
She's the lone cow. She went down. Put your gun on safe.
Did I miss her?
No, you smacked her.
I got her?
Yeah, she's down. And we're gonna go down there together, okay?
Okay.
And the other thing I laugh about looking at this is there's like a bedside manner thing. I have a reputation as a bad mentor. So if I'm mentoring someone and I need and I'm like, no, the one on the right, I will very quickly go from saying something like, the one on the right, to, what is the problem? What are you doing? Why didn't you shoot? Right? And if you watch Cal in his mentoring situation, Cal is able to just stay calm.
Try to be as patient as we can. It's okay. They're not gone. They're playing into our hand.
And it winds up being more effective than just up in someone's ear, hounding on them about how they screwed up. And if I was going to list out ways in which I could improve myself, toward the top of that list would be improving my my chillness when I'm trying to coach someone through a stressful hunting situation. You know, this situation we're in hunting in Montana is we're way off and we see a couple bulls. And you see two bulls together and Remy says it. And of course, everyone's thinking is like, man, maybe we can go get all the elk, you know, we can go get both the bulls. And you know, he called us like doubling up, right? And through a lifetime of hunting, I have found that more often than not, doubling up plans where everybody's gonna get one all of a sudden, or two people are gonna get one all of a sudden, or three people are gonna get one, you know, all of a sudden by doing like a count to three and then everybody shoots. Those have a way of leading to like that no one gets anything. So over the years, I've learned to be a little skeptical of doubling up plans. I remember one time I was helping my buddy hunting turkeys and we were calling a big group of toms in and we had this whole doubling up plan devised. But of course there was a little bit of miscommunication and it turned into like no one got any turkeys. And in hindsight, I've been like, man, if we'd have just said, when you get a shot, take it. When I get a shot, take it. We probably would have had mutual birds. And I've seen that again and again and again where a lustiness to double up leads to a nothing. So even though we go into this bull situation talking about doubling up, I have the wherewithal to just say to my hunting partner, in this case, Remy Warren, I'm like, you shoot, get him on the ground, and then we'll see what we can do, right? Maybe we can get a second one. And it doesn't work, but at least we get the one. But now looking back on it, even knowing what I know and knowing how skeptical I am of like the old double up plan, even thinking about it and revisiting this hunt in my head, I'm always like, you know what? Maybe we could have gotten a double, you know? It's hard to walk away from, but as a piece of hunting advice, get one. In double situations, get one and then worry about number two or else you're gonna wind up with zero. So this is a Fognac Island, Alaska, and this is a limited draw hunt for a group of elk that are non-native. Historically, Alaska did not have elk. At a time, they took a bunch of Roosevelt elk from the Olympic Peninsula in Washington State and brought them up and introduced them in a couple places, but one of the places is a Fognac Island. You can apply as a non-resident and perhaps draw a chance to hunt a Fognac. And for years, I would every year when I filled out my Alaska big game application, I would every year put down either Raspberry Island or a Fognac Island and try to draw one of these Alaska elk tags. What's funny is, having done it and even having done it successfully, like I get a bull, when I'm doing my Alaska app now, which I do every year, I've never even felt like the tiniest urge to reapply for that unit, even though I went and got a bull. It's like, it was kind of the most, I don't mind grueling stuff, but it's one of the most like wettest, grueling, nastiest hunts. It's not even a native population of elk. And you can hunt elk in so many places where elk are native and you're like on a habitat that's always held them. And there's a sort of history to it. But here, I just couldn't get into it. In addition to that, when you draw these tags, there's a real bear problem. When you draw on a Fognac Island tag, the Fish and Game Agency sends you a letter that basically says, it's not a question if your elk carcass will get claimed by brown bears. It's like when, like it will happen. And we did have it happen.
He's got too much brush.
Can you nudge him our way, Remy?
Come on, step, dude.
Oh, here he comes, here he comes.
All right. Holy smokes, these things big. What's crazy is the next year after this hunt, there's these dudes, we met some of them, there's these military guys that draw the Fognac hunt the next year after we were there. And they go to the same place we went to hunt. And they got attacked by a grizzly. One of them got mauled real good, but they managed to kill that bear with a pistol. If I remember right, I think it even tore one of his testicles out. But they managed to pop, 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 and killed it. So this is a hunt in the Blue Range in Washington State, very close to the Oregon border. It was funny because when we put this story together, this MeatEater episode together originally, there's a thing I didn't notice that many, many people pointed out to me later, and that's that when we're calling this bull up, I'm waiting to get a shot, and many people brought up how much you can see my arrow tip. It's going like shaking, And that thing, whatever it is that makes a person shake in a stressful moment, particularly archery hunting, is like that thing, that nervousness, that shakiness, that is what leads people to not be successful. That's what leads people to miss. It's what leads people to have bad hits and stuff gets away. What is that exactly? I've thought a lot about what that is exactly that drives that nervousness. And I think that one of the biggest things that's driving that nervousness, that shakiness, is the fear of screwing up. It's like you're in an environment of such consequence, meaning you're gonna shoot this arrow, and there's more places on that animal where that arrow can go and not kill the elk than there are places that arrow can go and kill the elk. In fact, there's way more places that arrow can go and not kill that elk. And as it's coming up, it's like, that's the thing you're thinking about, man. Like you're thinking about the screw up. Like if it came up and you somehow knew there was no chance to screw up, I think you'd be probably cool as a cucumber, right? But you're just struggling with the idea that here's this perfect scenario that everyone dreams about, and you're gonna dick it up, and you're gonna wound it, or you're gonna miss it. And that's what drives that nervousness. And again, it comes from there's this theme in hunting that a lot of mistakes in hunting come from a kind of like you're lusty for success, man. You want that bull so bad. You want that bull so bad that how bad you want it is gonna prevent you from getting it, because your desire to have it is gonna cause you to screw it up. Oh. I come so close to totally screwing it up. I hit it back, but I catch the liver, and that's a deadly shot. It kills the bull. It's a hard tracking job, but it kills it. But I mean, I could have gone maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches back, maybe a couple inches in another direction, and that would have been yet another elk, and there's been a bunch for me in my life, yet another elk that has an arrow in it and gets away and dies or doesn't die. But man, it's stressful, dude. It's the worst part about bow hunting is that couple seconds before you shoot. So a minute ago, I was talking about that hunt in Washington, right? Where I almost screw up bad. I get a not great hit, but it's a lethal hit, and we recover the bull. Everybody's happy. I got it hanging above the piano in my house right now. Here's a bull we don't find, man. And again, this is a thing that happens. It's happened to me a lot in my life with deer, with elk where you get a bad hit and lose the animal. Like, I'll say this. This is the thing guys debate about all the time. You know, people try to hide the fact that they have wound loss, or they try to misrepresent how often wound loss happens. I'll tell you this. I don't care who you are. I don't care how good you are with a bow. If you're not comfortable with wounding and losing an animal, don't shoot at it in the first place, because there is just no way. And I'll challenge, dude, I will challenge any hunter out there. I'll challenge anyone watching this, anyone. If you play this game long enough, and when I say long enough, I mean like a handful of years. If you play this game long enough with a bow, you are gonna hit stuff that you don't recover. Anyone that says they don't is either A, a liar, or B, they don't do it very much. It is just a fact that you have to live with. But this, again, is a muzzleloader hit. Like all screw ups, when I review this in my head, I can see in my mind, I know where I screwed up. I screwed up where, again, that like lustiness to be successful. I should have waited for that bull to get closer. I should have drew a better bead on it. But I got like, it's gonna get away. You're gonna have this great opportunity and you're gonna miss it. You're gonna be not successful. If you don't shoot, you better shoot now. As I slow it down in my head and replay it, when I touched that trigger, I didn't know that that bull was gonna die. There was a little bit of a Hail Mary in there. And like part of being a good hunter and part of maturing and progressing as a hunter is that you never allow any Hail Mary to come into your head. Like when you let the arrow go, when you hit the trigger, it's because you know that thing is dead. You know exactly where it's going. Anytime you do like a, well, I wonder what would happen if I shot now, probably not a good idea. And like reviewing it in my head, like that's what happened, man. There was a little bit of a question. And like when you shoot a bullet or shoot an arrow, there should be no question. But in that moment, there was a question. It was like, I hope I get it. And I didn't. Archery elk hunting in New Mexico, and this is one of those cases, and I pointed out in the episode, I'm gonna reflect a little more on it, but this is one of those cases where just like everything is so perfect and works out so well that you can't replicate it. Watching this hunt and this bull I get makes me remember back to the first time I ever killed a bull with a bow. Now I killed a couple Cow Elk before I killed a bull and had all of these problems and missed bulls, hit a couple bulls that I didn't hit lethally and didn't kill them. And when I finally had my first time when I killed a bull, I was slipping down, I was crab walking down a hill with the wind in my face. And I could hear a bull bugling below me. And I kept creeping down until I got about 30 yards from a cow. I could see a cow bedded down. And the bull was still bugling way down the hill for me. And I remember thinking that like, I can't go anymore. Like the minute I go anymore, I'm gonna start bumping cows, and just blew the whole thing. And it was still pretty early in the evening. So I just settled in, the wind's coming uphill, the thermals are coming uphill, and I got this cow right there. And eventually I can see antler tips coming up. And this bull comes up, and I can tell what he's gonna do before he even does it. He's gonna come all the way up to that cow, like comes up nose to nose with that cow and comes in range. And I remember like just pulling back and shooting, and the bull takes 2 steps and falls over dead. And I'm not kidding you. Like after all that time I had spent trying to do that for years to make that happen, When I shot that bull and just fell over dead, I'm not joking. I thought I was hallucinating for a second. It was more plausible to me that I was hallucinating than it was that elk actually fell over dead. Since then, this is the only time I've ever seen that happen. For me personally, the only time I've ever seen it happen with shooting an elk with a bow, where they don't run. It's just you shoot it and it falls over. And it's funny because these animals at times seem so invincible and like you can't make it work. And then all of a sudden you have it work so perfectly where you actually watch it tip over. Oh, it feels good because they seem like you can't beat them.
Look at that blood coming out of him.
And another funny thing about this is like me and Jason Phelps going there and we have this like fantastic hunt, dude. And there's bulls ripping everywhere. We're passing on bulls. We kill 2 bulls. And then other guys that like in years after, guys go into the area and they don't have a great hunt, right? And even in the episode, we're explaining like, this never happens. This doesn't happen. You could come here every year for the next 10 years and this won't happen. But now everyone that hunts like basically in this like quadrant of New Mexico that has a bad hunt, they're like, wow, yeah, because Rinella and Phelps came in here and hunted this spot. You know, it's so funny because, dude, I don't care if I was never born, that shit ain't gonna happen again for anybody. It was just one of those days, man. The old line, like, should have been here yesterday. It was one of those days when like yesterday was now, today.